So in the content of this webinar, if you see, we are going through a little bit of complete overview of the topic. During this complete overview, we will try to understand general cybersecurity. We will try to get to the definition of it. And then also we will try to understand the what are the major thinking behind these kind of attacks and what hackers thinks. The important thing is to understand is when we go to the automotive cybersecurity, these things are necessary for us to understand. Okay, then we will go for the basic fundamentals in the field of particularly into the automotive cybersecurity. Then we will go through a simple demo and a case study, starting with a little bit of abbreviation and definition, and also an introduction to ISO 21434. We will go through the state of art, which is ongoing market trend, how we are implementing the automotive cybersecurity. Then how this automotive cybersecurity market is evolving, what are the challenges of all those things we will go through. Then we will little bit discuss about the career path and the job opportunities. Okay, what are the skills required on all those things we are going to discuss in a minute. Okay, so let's start with the complete overview of this topic. So the first thing that I would like to share is the general definition of the cybersecurity. Now, this definition that I'm sharing with you is the definition mentioned into the standard of the NIST. NIST is basically the National Institute of Standards and Technology. Okay, so this is a body which is responsible for creating these standards, and these standards are acceptable by the government, by the corporate, by the standard organization for implementing the cybersecurity. Okay, it is accepted worldwide. Fine. So the definition for the cybersecurity mentioned in the NIST is that the prevention of the damage to, protection of, and restoration of. Okay, so this starts with what to do. So you need to prevent of the do the prevention of the damage, protection of, and the restoration of what? Computers, electronic communication system, electronic communication services, then wire communication, electronic communication, including the information contained there. Okay, to ensure its availability, integrity, authentication, confidentiality, and non-repudiation. So if you see, there are three parts of this definition. The first part is what needs to be done. That is prevention of the damage. You need to protection, and then the restoration. Okay, these are the three main parts of what? Of the electronic communication system, electronic communication services. Okay, your wire communication, electronic communication, which include the information that is contained in. Okay, and what you need to ensure while doing these things, you need to ensure that your availability, your integrity, your authentication, confidentiality, and non-repudiation should be maintained. Okay, so basically there are three things that need to be taken from this definition. And this definition, if you directly relate with the automotive world, then you can find a direct relation. It is like your electronic communication system. You have the electronic control unit, which is into your cars. Your electronic communication services, like you have the CAN and all those things. You have the OBD, you have the UDS protocol running here. Okay, then wire communication and all those things which is going through. And then for all data which is stored here, you need to be very sure that how you are going to secure the availability, integrity, authenticity, confidentiality, and non-repudiation of that data. Okay, then moving further, the next question that is important to understand is why hackers hack. Okay, so there could be many motives. Some of them are mentioned here, like ransom, insider threat, political motives. Then you have your competition, cyber war, angry user. Then somewhere sometimes your motive is also not known. Okay, it could be just fun. Okay, so if you talk about the ransom or majorly, many a times in some of the studies, it has been observed that many a times the motive is money. Okay, now this one is pretty obvious because hackers they are not different than the other hackers or the other criminals. Okay, they want the money. Okay, then if there is a study which was done, which is the Verizon's 2020 data breach investigation report. It is known by the name of the BBIR. Okay, it shares that 86% of the data breaches, they are analyzed and they found that it is financially motivated. Okay, so about 86% of the attacks that has been done as the motivation of the financial aspects. Okay, and when hackers profit financially at the cost of the others by doing the illegal activities, okay, they are called the black hat hackers. Now there are others hacker who are working legally and then they are making the money. Okay, so there is a difference between with this money motivation. Okay, so there is a white hat hacker and black hat hacker. So black hat hacker are the one who are doing the things illegally, and white hat hackers are just doing the penetration testing and all. So they take the permission and then they perform those attacks which could compromise your system. Okay, then yeah, insider threats are the major threats in any organization. Insider threat means the person who is working in the organization. From the automotive perspective, you can think of a person who has literally written the software of the ECU. Okay, he knows deeply what is going on into a electronic control unit. Okay, so he is the best person to understand how to break the system. Okay, so that could be an insider threat. Fine. So insider threats are the one who could, and these are the people who are really very dangerous, and it is very important for an organization to identify these kind of things. Then we go on to understand the political competition warfare. So political is basically which is driven by the governments. Okay, so they hire the hacker for the political espionage. Espionage is a term which is used generally into the word of cybersecurity, which is related to the leak of the confidential data or confidential information. Okay. In these cases, the hackers who engage in the state-sponsored cyber attack. Okay. So these are actually the sponsored cyber attack, and they are known as the nation-state actors. Okay. So in this type of role, hackers are assigned duties. They are particularly assigned duties. Okay, such as stealing the sensitive data and manipulating or otherwise interfering with the elections. Okay, stealing or leaking the government or military documents, interfering with the economies. Okay, so these kind of things are done by this politically driven attacks, or you can say politically hard hackers. Then you have the competition. Competition is, in a very simple way, you can understand that there are two organizations who want to hamper each other. So instead of going for a positive competition by developing their skills and increasing their skills, they go for defaming each other. So for this, they sometimes hire the group of hackers, and this could be a motivation. Cyber war is one of something which is a hot topic of discussion between the experts. Okay, some people say there is nothing like cyber warfare, but some say that okay, if some damage is equivalent to a damage done by a war, then it is called a cyber war. Okay, so cyber war is basically the use of the digital attack to attack a nation. Okay, causing the comparable harm to actual warfare, or you can say disrupt the vital computer system. So if you have a power plant running and somebody disrupt the power plant computer system, and the power supply is disrupted, so that is very huge level of damage, more or less equivalent to a war. So that is called a cyber warfare. Okay. Then you have the angry user and the motive unknown. Angry user could be an insider threat also, because if you say company is not giving some sort of increment or not, or somebody is hired it's like they are fired from the company, so they are not happy with the organization, so they could be an angry user, and they could do an attack, some sort of cyber security attack over the system, because they know about the unknown motive. I've written this because sometimes the motive is just to prove yourself, just to prove your knowledge, and just for the fun. Okay, so sometimes the motives are unknown. Then who are the people doing these kind of attacks? Okay, so it could be your outsiders, organized criminal groups, your internal actors. Internal actors are related to your organization, within the organization. Okay, as I told you, a software developer for the ECU could be an internal actor. State affiliated actors are hired by the government. Okay, then multiple parties, and then partners. So it could be the motivation could be the competition. Okay, so between the partners, there could be a competition. So these people could be behind the data breaches. Okay, now this particular slide is very interesting because it gives you a picture, or you can say an idea of what kind of attacks are majorly done in wide variety, okay, in wide perspective. Okay, so if you talk about the targets, which could be accommodation on service, although automotive is not here, but this slide is very important to understand in general that what kind of attack need to be considered. Okay, so these what I mean to say that automotive industry is new in terms of the cybersecurity. Okay, there are not much attacks which have been seen here. Most of the attacks or the study you will see over the internet also are by the white hat hackers. Okay, so these are some research group or something who are doing some these kind of studies. Okay, there are some attacks, but not majorly as of in these field. Okay, or in these target groups. Fine. So it is important to study the rest of the cybersecurity infrastructure to understand that what could be possible threats to the automotive industry also. Okay. So this picture gives you a idea that if these are the attacks which are targeted to these kind of targets, then this could be a possible attack for the automotive industry also. Okay. So if you talk about the food accommodation and food services, if you see, white is your financial, green is your espionage, and orange is your fun, ideology, and grudges. Okay, so mostly the motivation is your financial attacks. Okay, but in case of your manufacturing, if you see, the major motivation is your fun, ideology, and grudges. Okay, this is the major motivation. So it's not always the financial, and sometimes like the public administration, if you see, it's the espionage. Espionage takes the major part. Okay, so depending upon the targets, the motivation behind the attacks alters. Okay, and taking this reference, we need to understand that in automotive world, what could be the possible major attack surface, and what could be the major motivation behind these attacks. Okay, and it is important to understand this because when you identify that what could be the major motivation, you identify the threats, what could be the possible threats. After identifying the threats, you will be able to identify the methods of the attacks, and then you can implement the countermeasures. Okay, so this kind of study is very important for understanding and implementing the security aspects in the automotive also. Okay, so now when we have gone through and we have understood what is cybersecurity in general, and we have done a bit of a study about the motivation and what could be the possible threats, not exactly the threats, but majorly the motivation behind the attacks. Let's start specifically with understanding the cybersecurity in respect to the automotive. Okay, and when you start studying or when you start understanding the automotive cybersecurity, the first question that comes into the mind, even in my mind also, that question came, that when we talk about the automotive cybersecurity or vehicle cybersecurity, what exactly we are referring to, what we are trying to say. Okay, since last 50 years, vehicles are moving all around. Nobody was talking about cybersecurity. Suddenly, in last 5 years or 6 years, everybody is just talking about cybersecurity in the automotive field. What is the reason? Why everybody has started talking about this? The reason is the world now is moving toward the more complex technologies like ADAS or your majorly Internet of Things. Okay, if you talk about the Internet of Things, everything will be connected. Okay, your mobile, your vehicle, your house, everything will be connected to each other. And there is a big data collection will be there, which is called a big data, and big data analysis will be performed over that data. So, which relates to somewhere artificial intelligence. Okay, so now when automotive is also becoming the part of this infrastructure, and in future we are talking about the vehicles which will not have the driver, so driverless vehicle. Okay, so ADAS will be there, autonomous driving will be there. Okay, so it becomes very important that what could be the security aspects of these kind of vehicle and the upcoming technologies of future. Okay, now the definition that I show here is given by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration of the USA. Okay, and it says that cybersecurity within the context of the road vehicle, this is very specific to the road vehicle, is that the protection of the automotive electronic system, control algorithm, communication network, users, software, and underlying data from the malicious attack, unauthorized access, damage, and manipulation. Okay, you can relate this definition with the definition that we understood of the general cybersecurity. More or less, everything is same. Okay, but just the terms are more specific to the automotive industry, in the sense that now we are using the automotive electronic system, which is your electronic control units. Okay, your control algorithms, which are implemented into these ECUs, your communication network, it could be your Ethernet network, it could be your CAN network, MOS, FlexRay, Link, any kind of network. Okay, users, this is very important. Users are most important, because at the end, who will be affected by the compromise? User will be affected. Okay, software and underlying data. Okay, from whom? From the malicious attack, unauthorized access, damage, and manipulations. Okay, if you want to put it in more a simpler way and relate to the first definition, you can easily say that it is related to your confidentiality, integrity, availability, your authentication, and non-repudiation. Okay, this is just a specific term. Okay, damage. What kind of damage? Damage to the data could lead to the loss of the integrity. Okay, manipulation also lead to the loss of integrity. Unauthorized access means authentication could be lost. Okay, confidentiality could be lost. Okay, so anyhow, these things are related to the base definition of the cybersecurity, which is related to the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Okay, so the next question, the next big question that comes into the mind: why is automotive cybersecurity such a big deal? Okay, why? Okay, fine. Okay. Things are moving toward the IoT and all, but why it is such a big deal? Why everyone is so afraid? The reason is already people have identified the vulnerabilities and they have started attacking in some way or the others. Okay, so if you would have heard about an study by a research group of two people, they did a research over this Jeep Cherokee. Okay, so they were able to literally manipulate the speed. They were able to apply the brakes, change the volume of the infotainment system. Okay, increase or decrease the volume. They were able to literally control the vehicle remotely from a far distance. Okay, just by using what? Just by using cellular network. They were able to connect to the cellular network to the vehicle, and they were able to change everything, even apply the brakes and increase the speed of the vehicle. Okay, so this is what the first point refers to. So this point refers to the same study. To control the climate control feature, infotainment system, and even the steering and braking system, an SUV was hacked by a group of few white hat hackers. Fortunately, this hack was part of a research done by some cybersecurity experts. Okay, so this is a really very, very good study and it is an eye opener in the field of the automotive. And they proved that these vehicles are really vulnerable to huge amount of damage could be done by the attackers. Okay, so it is really very important for the OEMs to start thinking about the cybersecurity. And right now, if you talk about the market, I'm sitting in the company, and I literally hear people talking about the cybersecurity, how to implement it. How they are in the process of understanding, and at the time, it is something which is booming. Companies are looking for the people who would be working, who have the knowledge of the cybersecurity, and it is really very booming. Then the percentage of black hat hacking incidents has risen to 72% in the first few months of 2019. Though comparative to other fields, okay, like IT or web, these attacks, the number of these attacks is less, but in terms of percentage increase, the ratio by which it is increasing is very high. That is 72%. Okay. There are not too many attacks. It could be all around the world, around 100 or 200 attacks would be there. But comparative to the previous years, if you talk about when nobody was thinking about cybersecurity or the security of the vehicle, this has drastically increased. Okay, so 72% is a huge number. Okay, and now we are in 2021, and we still need to understand that at what rate it is increasing. Okay, so it is increasing very fast. Keyless remote entry, a popular feature in the vehicle, has been preferred vector for the cyber attacks. Okay, if you would have heard, or you will just type the BMW attack, immobilizer attack, or the PEPS attack into the Google, you will find a video where some thieves, those are thieves, and they have a sort of device. they kept that device near to the garage door, and then they were able to access the vehicle. They were able to start the vehicle and go to it. The reason is they were able to amplify the signals which are coming from the your passive entry fob, and vehicle was able to receive the signal thinking that it is inside the vehicle, and it unlocked the vehicle. They were able to start the vehicle, and once the vehicle is in movement and the fob is not near, then the vehicle will not stop until unless it is stopped. Okay, it will keep on going. So they were able to literally stole the car. So this is one of the keyless remote entry attack. Okay, then a parking garage that was meant for employees belonging to the Canadian organization was ambushed by a ransomware that allowed free parking without verification of the access card. Okay, this attack was classic case of the attack on the backend system. Okay, now you can understand that you take a garage and you put your belongings there, but later on somebody hacks to that system and asks you that, okay, first give me some money, then only I will let you take your belongings. Okay, so this is kind of a ransomware attack. Okay, they are asking for the ransom. Okay, so now these kind of attacks are many in the field of your web, also in system. Sometimes your systems also get hacked, and there are malwares which are called the ransomwares. If those are able to access, you need to pay a ransom, and then only the attacker will or the hacker will give you a key through which you are able to unlock the system. Same things are going on into the field of the automotive. Let's say somebody hacks to your ECU and put a ransomware, and then he says that, okay, first give me some amount of money, then only I will allow you to access your vehicle. This could be a possibility. So anyhow, you need to give the money because your vehicle is standing on the roadside and you are not able to access it. Okay, this could be also a possibility. So these are the attacks which are already being done, and these are the motive because of which suddenly everybody is talking about the automotive cybersecurity. Okay, so in one such incident of the attack on an alarm system server, okay, the hacker were able to track down the vehicle, unlock the car doors, and even cut off the engine in some cases. Okay, tracking the vehicle is very general. You would have seen in the movies, and this is real life things that you can easily track a vehicle where it is moving using its GPS coordinates or using the Wi-Fi. There are many ways by which you can even track the vehicle, and sometimes your movement where you are going, it could be a personal information, so it could be a leak of the PII. Okay, so there are many possibilities related to what an attacker could do, and this is why it is a big deal to take care of the automotive cybersecurity. Okay, now when we have understood about why it is a big deal, let's go through the ecosystem of the car which are present in somehow, which are at the present, and majorly which will be in the future. Okay, so if you talk about the ecosystem of the car, here you can see that before going further into details, let's look at the ecosystem of the present. Okay, but it is more of a future. The vehicle in itself already have many issues. Okay, and this is going to increase in the future for sure. The network complexity will also increase. At present, automotive network majorly employs, if you say, around 80 to 90 ECUs. Okay, it could be possible, could be less, 50, 40 to 50, and in high-end vehicles which are giving you more complex features, they could have 80 to 90 ECUs, such as in Audis. Okay, and their backbone is majorly, the network backbone is majorly, right now it is CAN, and for the future vehicle already the work is going on over the Ethernet. Okay, we need Ethernet because higher bandwidth, higher speed is required. Okay, so that's why the automotive industry is moving toward the Ethernet. Okay, then now ADAS vehicles are also coming into picture. Okay, if you see here, we have a ECU which is called the gateway ECU, which is not very used in previous vehicles, which is the latest technology and which is coming into picture to provide or give the automotive network more modular shape. Okay, previously, if you connect to the CAN OBD or you can connect to the OBD connector, you can easily access to the complete network of the ECU. Okay, because SCAN is basically a broadcast protocol. Okay, every message which is being sent is could be received by all the ECUs depending upon the configuration. Okay, so this is a major threat that if anybody connects to the OBD, he could capture or sniff all the information, all the CAN messages through the OBD. So now it is important to provide a modular shape to this network, because of which your gateways are coming into picture. Okay, we will discuss about this secure gateway in the later slides. But for this picture, we just need to understand that okay, we have the gateways. Gateways will have the connection to your GPS environment, to your camera, to your radar, and to your onboard diagnostics on one side. Then on the other side, you will have your infotainment system, okay, which will have the connectivity to your mobile, USB, CD drive, and all those entertainment kind of things. Okay, so you will have your black box ECU, body control, chassis ECUs, powertrain ECUs. All those ECUs are within the ecosystem of or within the environment inside the vehicle. Okay, now outside the vehicle, if you talk about, as I told you, infotainment system will be connected to your mobile and all those things, and gateway ECUs will be connected to the your camera and radar. Majorly, all the ADAS related things will be connected directly to the gateway ECUs. Okay. Then you will also have the grid connections, smart charging for the electric vehicles. Fine. So this is the ecosystem of a future car, or you can say in somehow in the present car also you will find these ecosystems. Now, if you talk about the surface, which are open and through which you can connect to the vehicle, these services are unlimited right now. Okay, we will have the vehicle to vehicle communication, vehicle to infrastructure communication, Internet of Things going on. Okay, then you will have the cloud, which is provided by the OEMs to update the software of the vehicles. Everything is going to be wireless. So the infrastructure or the ecosystem of the cars are going to increase drastically. Okay, now, so if you talk about even your onboard diagnostic will also be through these gateways. You see that your OBD2 will be also through this gateway. Okay, and this gateway will be responsible for the information verification before sending it to the internal network. Okay, so now you see the vehicle network is becoming more and more modular. Okay, so your gateways will come into picture. Previously, even majorly today, okay, most of the vehicles didn't have this kind of architecture, but future vehicles will for sure have these kind of architecture. Okay, now keep this picture in your mind, because with reference to this picture, we are going to understand in the case study that what could be the possible attacks and what could be the possible damages. Okay, when you start studying about the vehicle and when you start to understand what are the attack surfaces, what could be the impact, then you understand what could be the feasibility, and then you try to understand what are the risks. And depending upon the risk, finally you create the requirements for this vehicle to be implemented, which will make this vehicle secure. Okay, this is the process which is followed generally in all the automotive sector. Okay, so this was just to provide an ecosystem of the vehicles, the present and future ecosystem.